Just did 32.4 kilometers on on one pack.
Nice.
One set of 8 cells. I think
And
that's
those
pretty
are
good.
those test motors that you got from T-Motor, right?
Yeah, because there aren't any motors for 7-inch props at 8S voltage. So T-Motor did me a favor and made me these, because their normal F80 motors are supposed to be pretty good efficiency for 7-inch. F80 1050 kV. I think 1050 seems to be just about right. As a thought of like a scout quad or like just testing out the terrain and so on, this would be pretty good because you can get 32.5 kilometers on it. So you can go out to your thing 8 kilometers away and spend 10 kilometers flying around that thing, learning all the shots, and then still have your 10K to get home. Now, that was a good experiment, though. That was a new personal best for me, 32.4 kilometers in one flight. Hey, Falcon here. Thanks for joining me. I wanted to do another video about my 8S testing with my 7-inch builds recently. I've got some really good results with this build. It's an extra light version of my Rad Lion frame. So the intention of this build is not to carry a GoPro and to use this quad for scouting. Go out and fly around and have some extra flight time to check out a new place I'm flying and look around and try to find good shots that I want to get on the GoPro, like nice lines or something. And then after I've done the exploring and checking it out for the first time with the cheaper scouting quad, then I can go through with my good, more expensive quad with the GoPro on it. So since I'm not going to be carrying a GoPro on this, it's let me lighten the frame up a little bit more because I'm not worried about the vibrations affecting the GoPro footage. I just need to worry about the vibrations and the effect on the flight performance and flight characteristics of the quad, as well as the tuning the filters. So since I'm working with a much lighter build than usual for one of my long range frames, the motors didn't need to be quite as big. So instead of the 2806.5 motors, I've actually got 2408 T-Motor F80s on here. Now, finding a motor in this size that'll run a 7-inch prop on 8S is quite difficult. There basically aren't any, really. There's 2812s and 3008 motors that come in 1050 or 1150 kV, but those are just too big and heavy to build a really lightweight, efficient long range or extended range quad. So I was looking around at different motors and thought these F80s would be a really good choice. So I asked T-Motor if they could do me a favor and make me some F80s in 1050 kV. And a big thanks to T-Motor there for helping out with this experiment by providing me with these 1050 kV F80s, because that's what's made this experimenting possible. Now, the F80 motors are also multi-strand windings, which helps to make them more efficient by more densely packing the space around the stators. With these motors flying at 50 to 60 kilometers an hour, I was only pulling 7, 8, sometimes 9 amps, which is great. That's a really low amp draw, so the lithium-ion cells are going to really like that. So the flight footage I'm going to be showing you in this video of the 32 kilometer, 37-minute flight was done with BAK 5000 milliamp hour 15 amp max 21700 lithium-ion cells. Now I've just actually finished making another pack now using Samsung 50S 5000 milliamp hour cells, but these are rated for 25 amps constant. They cost about twice as much as the box cells, so I'm hoping to get some even better results with this battery. I've also got a couple of 8S 18650 packs that I'm really interested in seeing what sort of flight time I'm getting with these, because, well, let's take a look at the weight of things here. I guess you're not going to be able to see the numbers there, but I'll put them up on the screen as I weigh things. So let's start off with weighing the quad, because the weight of everything is a really big deciding factor in efficiency and flight time. So the build with no props and no battery straps is 441 grams. I plan on putting this frame up on my my page on CNC drones to be for sale. But I'm going to spend a few more weeks doing some more testing. I want to get another version cut and see if I can get the weight down a little bit more and also slightly improve the performance. And then when I order that next version, I'll rebuild it, use a lighter GPS and a lighter capacitor. I've also got a SpeedyBee VTX that's 800 milliwatts that runs on 5 volts. So I can connect that to the regulator on here, because this flight controller's only got a 5 volt regulator, and I've already burnt out a VTX running it on 8S battery voltage. So I'm going to try out the SpeedyBee one, which is, it's also a little bit lighter, so that'll help get the frame weight down as well. I think another Immortal T instead of this barred pole might help get the weight down a little bit. I've got a new 3D print for the antennas and GPS that'll be a little bit lighter. And I think I'm going to try lightening up the top plate and the base plate a little bit as well. So I'm hoping I can get the weight of this down to 425 or even less. Now the 8S1P 21700 cells battery is 632 grams. So that's pretty heavy. That's quite a bit more than the quad. And that's one of the reasons I'm wondering about what kind of flight time I'll get with this. Now, obviously, it's not going to be as much as with, this is 5,000 milliamp hours. This is only 2,800 milliamp hours, so it's obviously not going to get as much flight time, but I'm pretty sure the milliamp hours per kilometer will improve with this pack because it's 423 grams. So it's about roughly 200 grams lighter than the other pack. So the kilometers per milliamp hours that this thing will get with this pack will definitely be better. I'm guessing possibly 16, 18, maybe a little more than 18 kilometers with this, in probably about 20 minutes. Now the Samsung cells are better quality, and they handle the amps better than the box cells that I did the first test with. So I'm really hoping that with this pack, I'm going to be able to break the 40-minute mark. But I might have to unfortunately wait till things warm up in springtime, because when I did this testing a month ago, it was in the mid-20s Celsius. And now a month later, it's the daytime highs are about 4 or 5. So that's going to really affect the milliamp hour output of lithium-ion cells. These will probably drop by about 15% capacity due to that temperature difference. So let's just take a look at the all-up weight now. I guess this is still, of course, it's not including propellers. $1,073 grams. And now with the 8S 18650 pack, 864 grams. So 209 grams more with the 21700 pack. And this, I'll show you some of this flight footage now from the 32 kilometer, 37 minute flight. It was my first time flying with this pack, so I didn't want to go really far out and sort of take any risks losing the quad. So I ended up doing roughly 1 kilometer loops and going up in elevation, maybe 100 to 150 meters, and then going back down to 0 meters elevation, and then doing another 1 kilometer loop, going up to 150, 200 meters elevation. So I went through and scanned through the footage and added up the elevation gain from all those going out parts of the loops, and it worked out to about 1,500 meters of elevation gain. That's the equivalent of at least flying up a 1 kilometer high mountain. I also did a second flight test where I flew out to some waterfalls and back with a bit more elevation gain there, and I had to deal with some more wind. And I still got almost exactly the same results. I ended up flying 2,100 milliamp hours and getting 16.5 kilometers in 19 minutes. So that's fairly consistent with the results from the other flight of 32.4 kilometers in 37 minutes. Okay, let's take a look at some more of the footage from that flight now. Okay. All right, so I'm just testing this 8S quad now to see how using the because the 5,000 milliamp hour 21700 batteries. These ones can only take 15 amps. So using 8S really helps keep the amp count or the amp draw down. So by keeping that amp draw down really low, it lets me use these really high capacity 21700 cells. And so now I'm trying it on these motors, these test motors I got from T-Motor. Seem to get a little hot on my other build. I don't know if it was something to do with the build or some of the electronics on it. But so I transferred it to this one. This one's, you know, totally all different electronics, and also it's about 200 grams lighter because of no GoPro 130 grams, and the frame is like 70 grams lighter because it's a really thin 5mm version of my Rad Lion frame.
Are you off to the right or the left?
Right. So yeah, I'm really hoping that this will get me some good efficiency. You can see on the bottom left there that mAh/kilometer is an estimation of how many milliamp hours per kilometer I'm using. Then again, remember this is for 8S, so you know, 150 milliamp hours on 6S is less than 150 milliamp hours on 8S because you've got 8 cells that have given up 150 rather than just 6. So there's that little bit of conversion math to do in for figuring out how efficient it actually is. I can see a little bit of wobble in my video. I can tell this frame's, you know, the vibration's not as good as with the nice stiff 8mm version. Definitely makes a difference with the nice thick arms. So I just adjusted the current meter for this quad that I'm flying. So that current draw that we're seeing there, you know, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 amps, that should be fairly close to accurate.
Hey, what should I be watching for battery and milliamp hour and stuff?
Well, I'm staying close around the home here, and I'm gonna I'll go a kilometer out here or something just to.
Yeah, in case you get distracted or whatever.
Well, I mean, at 3.3, I definitely want to be thinking about being closer because I'm not super familiar with these lithium-ion cells. These are BAK 5,000 milliamp hour 21700s. They're a little more. They're quite high capacity, but 5,000 milliamp hour. But their maximum amp draw is only 15 amps. Compared to, say, the Moly cells, where it's 4,200 milliamp hours and 45 amps. So cramming those extra milliamp hours in the cell really kills its ability to put out a lot of amps. So that's what we're trying to test and see here. Is 8S gonna make it work better? The other thing with 8S is that, well, you know, 3 or 4S is most efficient for flying with, because you're creating the higher current to power the motor without needing as much voltage. But I'm wondering if the efficiency difference, or, you know, efficiency gains of running at low voltage like 3 or 4S, if that's made up for by being able to use these really high capacity cells. Because, you know, see if you had a 4S 2P or even 4S 3P, you'd still need to be using like 25 amp cells or something like that, so that, you know, 3P, you'd be able to take 75 amps to all group the 3 of them together. And on 4S, you'd need that 75 amps because the amp draw is way higher on 4S than 6S.
3.73, 700 milliamp hours.
And at this, for this weight that I'm at, because I'm only using 8 cells, 8S1P, you'd actually, to be comparative in weight and whatever, you'd have to use, at a maximum, you'd be able to use 4S2P for 8 cells. So you wouldn't be able to use a 5,000 milliamp hour cell because it's just, there's no way you're going to keep a 5,000 milliamp hour 15 amp max cell happy on 4S when you're only running 2P. You'll be running over 30 amps quite constantly. But for this 15 amp cell, I can easily keep the amp draw if I'm just cruising around easily or cruising around gently. I'm easily keeping the amp draw below 10 amps. More like, the 7-8 sort of range. You probably don't want to be going more than about 10 amps constant with a 15 amp max cell. That's going to be sort of pushing it a little. So this, cruising at 50 kilometers an hour at 8 amps is not bad. So I'm not sure how well this build, this lightweight 8S1 with these high capacity cells, I don't know how well it would do flying up a mountain, say, because it's you just gotta put the amps up higher when you're ascending a mountain. You have to gain all that altitude. What's my battery at? 3.8?
3.81. 900 milliamp hours. 3.76.
So say I'm roughly a quarter of this pack's capacity right now, I think, around about that. Do I think maybe I need to focus this lens a little bit. I guess just, that's actually pretty crisp up close. Yeah. Just orbit this tree for a little while, kilometer away from home, or how far away is home? Yeah, kilometer, well, almost. Maneuvers really nicely with the 7035 Gemfan props on here.
3.74, 1,000
Whoa.
milliamp hours.
Why is the home arrow pointing that way?
I'm not sure. I don't actually know where you are.
The home arrow is pointing the wrong. Am I? Where's there? Now it's pointing the right way. Okay. I was turned around. Was it that way? Yeah, because there's the split in the river, so the bridge should be over there. So now I'm going way up the river, so I should look to the left. Shouldn't go too far. Yeah, I don't know. I think that home arrow was pointing the wrong way for a minute. I don't know, it should be fairly accurate. I'm at 13 satellites. Well, there's that work yard down there.
Sometimes the home arrow, when you turn it, just kind of gets stuck.
Yeah, it takes a little while to figure out where it wants to point next. Yeah, I can see a little bit of jello in there, and also, I mean, this super thin frame isn't great for jello. Plus, I went way too far upriver here. It's not good for jello. Plus, I'm keeping the throttle stick really low, so it's keeping the propellers spinning slowly. And the slower your propellers are spinning, the lower the frequency of vibration they're going to excite in the frame. So ideally you want to be spinning your props nice and fast. I guess maybe that's why Sinuups kind of work nice for video, because you got these little 3-inch props, 3.5, 4-inch props, and you're just spinning them crazy fast. So the frequency of vibration coming off of them is going to be way higher than anything that's going to bug your shutter speed on the GoPro. Oh, I'm getting attacked by flies.
How's that?
It's making me fly inefficiently.
3.67, 1300 milliamp hours.
So let's see
Amtra
if
is staying under 10.
I'm not sure if I can actually get 5,000 out of this. I think I got 4,500 out of it. So I could probably, I should be able to triple what I've done now, 1,300 milliamp hours. I should be able to do that 3 times. So I think I might be able to hit 30 kilometers with this build. I mean, not going up a mountain, because I don't think this high capacity cell will be happy with the required amp draw to get up a mountain. But for flatter terrain cruising, or if I lighten this frame up a little more, then it'd probably be okay at ascending a mountain. I probably could scrub some more weight off this frame a little bit. Change the base plate or something like that.
.56, almost 1,500 milliamp hours. Your Amtra is still below 10.
It's not the most exciting flight. But that's, yeah, I want to try doing this around here before I try doing this up a mountain or something. I want to see what how hot the battery is running at this amount of amps. Yeah, if I stay really gentle on the throttle, like there, let's see, I'm running at, 25% throttle, probably 25 to 30% throttle for this. Yeah, there's up to 30. It is really going through this battery slow. Well, I'm flying a bit slow here too. I've been 12 minutes to do 11 kilometers. That's a little bit under my usual average speed of a kilometer per minute for most of my long range flights. Gee, don't hit a tree out here. I'm gonna go climb one of these. Oh, there the amps are. Whoa. Let's get some air. My battery's not gonna like that. I popped it up to 20 there for a little bit. Got a little carried away. Flew behind those trees there.
3.56, almost 1,700 milliamp hours.
Oh, these flies are starting to bug me. Okay, I'm gonna try to really go easy on the battery here for a sec. Got some altitude. I'm just gonna keep the throttle really low. Oh yeah, could you put my hat on? That'll make all the difference for those flies. There, now I'm keeping the throttle nice and low since I had some altitude there to get over those trees, and it's gonna let my battery get a little bit of a break because I probably just made it a bit unhappy from hopping up in the air like that. Only went over its max amp tolerance for a few seconds, but so that's about exactly where we were at before. Another flight I did with this, I did just part of a battery. I got 11 kilometers on 1750 milliamp hours. So I got a little bit more here. Could just be a calibration difference thing, or maybe I'm flying a little bit slower than I was before. There's video better again.
It's really hard to see with the sun in my eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of cooking here with the sun right on me. It's almost, I almost think I might just friggin' go fly over to that mountain a bit some more because it's
But 3.55, 1900 milliamp hours.
kind of sucks going in circles here for so long. And just sort of follow this flight path that I was taking for that other flight up to the waterfall. And DVR is recording, is it? I believe. Yes. Until my goggles are getting hot, the fans are a bunch louder. Goggles are right in the sun here, I guess.
Yeah, everything's right in the sun.
Yeah, it's the end of September and I'm cooking in the sun here. Forecast was for it being almost 30 today, or 27.
You just barbecue stuff off of your goggles.
Holy crap, that's bright when I lift my goggle up. Wow.
3.54, 2000 milliamp hours. Your amp draw is low right now, around 5.
Let's see, I'm at 2000 milliamp hours. And my battery's 3.5. When my battery gets to 3.3, I should really be making sure I'm going home. But I should be able to double what I'm at right now. The calibration should be close enough that I can get, that I should be roughly 2000 milliamp hours, 2060 plus or minus 100. So I'm thinking, this might be a 30K build here, although not with a GoPro. Let's see, I gotta do a little bit of elevation gain here. I guess as long as I'm doing it slowly, it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, the point of the build is to test it with elevation gain eventually, right?
Yeah. Except I don't want to have to hit the throttle to recover. So I don't want to, because I don't know how it'll do if I just like hammer the throttle to recover because I'm like losing video. Like I guess it's kind of, it's got its advantages and disadvantages.
Is that something you can test for in a safer environment?
Yeah, I mean, I can go and come back and try hitting the throttle back at the end here. I mean, it should be all right as long as I'm not too low down in the battery, because then if I'm too low down, it's just gonna sag super bad.
3.52.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely got a tailwind on the way home here now. I mean, 65 kilometers at like 5 or 6 amps.
Yeah, judging from the trees, the wind is less than it was like an hour ago, but there's still some.
I think this experiment's going to take a little while. I hope my GoPro recording here is going to be okay. We kind of tried to protect it from being in the sun so it doesn't overheat. Well, it's only recording at 1080, so it shouldn't overheat too bad.
It's at 21 minutes recording time.
21 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, what? It should have like an hour and a half.
It's used 21 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Almost 22.
The GoPro that's off in front of me?
Yeah, it has a timer on it, right?
Oh, you can see it from here?
Yeah, it's at a good angle.
Okay. Yeah, I should have plenty of battery. I just changed the battery before this flight.
Based on that sound right now, maybe that was a quad that we heard.
Yeah, I wonder. I haven't seen any other video interference or anything. We're at 3.41. Only 2,400 milliamp hours though. It's going to take forever.
Feels like forever with the sun beating us.
Yeah, that's making it really tough. And really, the thing is, I could just double the numbers or something, but I thing is knowing how many milliamp hours this 5,000 milliamp hour cell is going to actually put out. Because I'm guessing it's going to be like 4,400 or something, because we're running out of a few more amps than it likes.
You can't just double the numbers because it'll decrease at the end, right?
The efficiency will go down a bit at the end, but yeah, but I mean, it's about knowing how much, whether you should double it or triple it, like how many milliamp hours is it can actually put out. If you get 10 kilometers on 1,500 milliamp hours, you'll probably get 10 kilometers on the next 1,500, but will you get another 1,500?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I don't know, is if I'm going to get, I think before I got up to about 4,400, 4,500. We'll see here. Still at 3.44 battery, 19 kilometers in, and 2,500 milliamp hours. And a whole bunch of bugs.
Are you to the right or to the left?
Above us. About to crash into the tree. Getting rid of the bugs.
I'm covered with this fine layer.
Oh, is that a bug? Is that a bug? My hand feels weird. There we go. What's my voltage now?
3.4, 3.39. You're at 2,600 milliamp hours.
Yeah, see, I don't know what.
It says 0 time remaining. So.
Oh, that's because the.
It isn't calibrated right.
No, it's because the timer remaining is calibrated based on your milliamp hour capacity for your battery that you input in the power and battery tab in Betaflight. And I input 2,600 milliamp hours because I was using 8S 18650 2,600 milliamp hour.
So you don't have a slightly different version of Betaflight for slightly different builds?
Well, what I would need to do is just to put another profile in that I switch to that goes to, you know, a 5,000 milliamp hour or whatever, 4,400 milliamp hour capacity. And then the 22 minutes is flashing just because I've probably in my OSD somewhere, I think it's got timer time limit thing, and then once you reach whatever that time limit is, it makes it flash so that it lets you know. So mine's probably set to 20 minutes or something like that. But I'm only at 3.33, so I should still have a good chunk of battery left. 2,700 milliamp hours. 2,800.
I made a note in the flight log to change the Betaflight profile for this one.
Oh, for the battery capacity.
Yeah.
Well, at least the sun's gotten a little bit less harsh. It was beaten down pretty hot for the last flight. It's still pretty warm, but it's not as bad as it was for the last flight. I guess I just keep doing this 1 kilometer sort of lap here, going out to this thing. Let's not dive down the trees and have to throttle up to get a video back, though.
So it's 3.3, roughly 2,900 milliamp hours.
3.3, 2,900. I think this might run at a bit lower voltage, this cell, than my multi-cell ones.
And sometimes there it was down to 3.28, so it's been fluctuating a bit.
Yeah, it'll change with my throttle. You can see the numbers underneath it, the 33. Remember before I was flying at 25% throttle for a lot of it. I think I'm gonna fly a little bit higher throttle because the voltage is lower in the battery.
So on the one hand, I want to follow you with my goggles, and on the other hand, the things that sound hurts. So I'm trying to find a middle ground here.
It's okay.
Now you're to 3.4. Go back down.
Oh, it's because you'll see that number underneath, the throttle number. It's in the 20s right now. When that number goes up, that means I'm pulling more from it, so the battery will drop because it's getting drained. So like right now, our average is 3.3 volts at 30% throttle. And yes, again, I am, flying fairly slowly here, being really efficient. And this is
level.
And there's a little bit of wind. I can definitely notice the speed and amp difference between going out and coming back, but the wind isn't too much. Still 3.3 battery, or just a little under. 3,100 milliamp hours. Oh, I wonder if, I think we might actually get to 4,400, 4,500. And we're already at 24 kilometers.
I'm gonna stand to the left of you. I gotta get out of the sun here. This is brutal.
Yeah, I'm really not very comfortable in the sun here. Just keep watching those, especially the voltage, babe. Because I don't know, for some reason the way these goggles sit on my face, the foam is like, my face is the wrong shape, or the foam needs to be changed, but it tips it down so I can see the bottom of the screen is like really comfortable to look at, and I can barely see my satellites at the top.
Yeah, I can see either the top or the bottom.
Like I need my...
So it's 3.22 volts.
Oh, I've left it with the throttle up a little bit there because I was going no hands. Now we're back to 3.3, but I'm at a little bit lower throttle. We can see like the voltage on the battery is just slowly creeping down.
Slowly, yeah, 3.22. Almost 3,300 milliamp hours.
And we broke 25K. Still a little bit under the, because I'm going a little slow, so it's 25K in 28 minutes. Wow, it's just been a half-hour flight so far. Well, 28 minutes.
Does that include when it's just plugged in and you're not doing anything?
No, this is when the arm switches on. That's what that counter is. So it's 28 minutes since I started spinning the props and took off. And we still got a little while to go.
Yep.
We're at 3.25, and we'll have to see how this battery probably goes down to like 3.1 or something and then starts dropping quick. Maybe somewhere around there is my guess. And we're at 3,370 milliamp hours now. It's still 3.25, so I think I'm gonna get that 4,400, 4,500 probably.
Sweet. Well, it's 26K so far.
Oh, make the battery unhappy. It just flew behind the wrong bush. I thought I was one set of trees closer.
I'm not entirely sure where you are.
Now I'm like right in front of us. But that the battery never really went back up after that little hammer on the throttle. Now it's down at 3.2, 3.15, 14. We'll see. It might be starting to drop now. Can you keep keep calling out the battery for me?
Right. Well, now it's back to 3.2. 3.15. Yeah, it might be dropping now.
It might hang out there for a bit.
We're at 3,500.
It should have another 1,000 milliamp hours in it. But I know that hammering it like that like I'd have to do to get the video back is really really tough on these batteries that don't really like amp draw very much.
But that was a good test, because in the real world you might have to hammer on the throttle, right?
Yeah, well, you can tell when I did that it was at 3.25 and then it was at 3.2 after. I don't know if it was just because it used that much, but it kind of set it back a bit, or it seemed to not respond well to it. I mean, that 15 amp max is pretty limited cell. Like this cell's probably, you know, purpose is more like for a strong flashlight or a semi-strong flashlight or something.
Yeah, like slow and steady wins the race.
Or like a lantern or whatever it would be good for. So volts, I'm down to 3.1 now. Can you keep a close eye on those, babe? And if you notice a difference?
I notice a difference in the deer flies. There's more.
Because I'm saying, I can't see that.
Okay, yeah, 3.12.
I mean, I can, but I have to like flex my head, and it blinds me from seeing properly.
All right, I'll just keep calling it out intermittently.
Yeah, because soon it's going to suddenly drop, and then I'm going to have like 200 meters to fly, and then the cloud's going to drop out of the sky.
All right, I can watch that, but I can't watch everything.
That's all you got to watch. That's the only thing. Let me know when that voltage starts to, if it gets to 3.05 or something, or
09, 07, 09.
And then just keep watching to make sure it doesn't plummet down.
04, 03.
So I wonder if maybe this cell, like my Moly cell batteries,
07.
When they hit 3 volts, they just drop like a rock to 3.5 and half a kilometer, pretty much. So I'm wondering, I can't remember when I flew this one last, if it hangs out at 3.8 or 3.9 for a while or something like that. I mean, the amount that I've been turning and coming in and back up again,
01.
Okay. The amount that I've been turning and maneuvering here uses up more energy for sure. Like if you just fly straight out somewhere like this and you're not turning around much, and then it really, you get more efficiency. I don't know, maybe it's not going to hit 4,500, 4,400. I mean, the GPS, though, is going to hit 30.
02.
We're almost at 30 kilometers. That's a personal record for me.
01.
But it's like hanging out at 3. It's not like popping down to 2.8 all of a sudden. So I think it's going to hang out here for a little while.
Nine 7. 2.97.
Okay, let me start knowing now if it goes below 2.9.
2.95. We're at 30, almost 3,900.
Yeah, I'm just pretty sure this calibration should be pretty close. So I wonder if these cells really, they don't put out their full capacity when you run them at, 5 or 10 amps. Probably only puts out 5,000 milliamp hours if you run it at like 2 amps max or something.
3,900, 2.82, no, 2.86. It's back to 9.4, but it dropped when you cornered.
Okay, I can see.
8.8.
Yeah. Okay. I'm still having to look weird with my head here, but it's not dropping fast, but I'm not going to have a whole lot of time. Once it does drop, it's going to go it'll probably hit 2.5 pretty fast. There was a bit of a pop in the throttle. It didn't drain it bad, so it's still got a little bit left in it. All right, I'm starting to get a little anxious about it now.
8.4.
And then we had 2.84,
82.
2.85 there.
4,000 milliamp hours. 807978. It's dropping now. 77. Back up to 78.
Yeah, I think I remember it doing this, that it sat around at, oh, it's starting to bug my head just trying to look at these numbers.
Try to look at the sun. 7.6.
It's really not dropping fast. I think it just hangs out at this low voltage for a while. But I think, there's not going to be a whole lot left in there. Seems like we're not going to get a lot more than, let's see, throttle blip went down to 2.3 or something. So it is kind of getting pretty close to done here. You can tell by the way it responds and stuff.
7.2. We're at 4,100.
All right. I think we better come in and land here and not push our luck too much, just to get, a couple little tiny stats more or something.
Try going to 4,200. That way at least it's a round number. 5.7.
Yeah, no.
6.2. I think it dropped when you cornered. 5.8. That card looks cool. You good? Good landing. Nice job.
32.5 kilometers.
Nice.
Only 4,200 milliamp hours I got out of those with 32.5 kilometers. So I really think I should invest in some of those like super expensive high amp draw 5,000 cells and see how they do. Because if I can actually get like 4,800 out of that, then I could probably get 35, 36 kilometers. That's new record for distance.